Hey everybody, my name is John Garcia. I am a certified health coach for UpLevel Living. I want to welcome you to this Transformation Tuesday session, live coaching session that we offer anyone who follows us, anyone that's a client or a patient at the office. Let me just say the intro again in case you missed it. My name is John Garcia. I'm the health coach for UpLevel Living, and I want to thank you guys for stopping by and checking out Transformation Tuesday. Today is December 15th, 2020, the year that's going to live in infamy, right? Before we go any further, the quick disclaimer: I am a health coach. I'm not a doctor. I don't treat or diagnose illnesses. Anything you learn in this video, in this session, before you make any changes to your personal health and wellness, please make sure you visit your doctor. If you need a personal doctor, I work at Family Medicine of Boca Raton with Shiv Prasad. We'd be happy to see you. We offer a complimentary visit with me, the health coach. And, first things we always do, some lab work, really find out where you are. Everything we do is based on science. And also, very unique, I think, to our practice is we try our best to treat people without medication. And if you're on medication, our goal is to get you off medication. That's really what wellness is about. So that's the quick little introduction. Again, today is Tuesday, December the 15th. We got a couple weeks left to end 2020. This will probably be the last Transformation Tuesday of the year. And, I just wanted to touch base with you guys. We haven't been doing Transformation Tuesdays live in a bit. And that's definitely going to change in 2021. We'll be doing at a minimum of every other week. A lot of times I'm going to have a special guest, like a doctor, like Shiv Prasad. We're also excited to announce a partnership that we have now with a company called The Exercise Coach. And they're a studio in Boca Raton also. And it's one-on-one training. Amy is the owner, and any of our clients and patients we're referring to them, and they're referring them back. And it's really great because now you have, we have to offer you the doctor, the health coach, and the exercise coach. It's the triangle of accountability, if you will, and you're right in the middle. And that's really the way it should be. You should be in the middle, in control of your health and wellness. You should not be just going to a doctor and just, he sees you, he gives you a medication, a prescription, and you're out the door, and you don't make any lifestyle changes. That's old school way of doing things. This is new school. Call it holistic, call it whatever you want to call it. But you need to be in the middle of your health and wellness and not just, taking some orders from a doctor. And the doctors that I work with are the first people that'll tell you that. So I really appreciate that. The Transformation Tuesdays, on Mondays, anyone that's subscribed should get an email from me. And so on Monday, you'll get the email based on the topic for the Transformation Tuesday session. So if you're not enrolled in the email, in the newsletter, it's called Movement, Meals, and Mindset. And we talk, about all three things. Just go to uplevelliving.com and you can subscribe there. So we're going to have a lot of great things going on in 2021. And I am planning, I'm not sure yet, a habit change challenge that has never really been done before. So if you want to change a habit or create a new healthy habit, look out for this challenge. It's going to be pretty awesome. All right, so tonight's topic is about inflammation. And, before I get into that, I'm just going to say, it's the end of the year and it's holiday time, and regardless of COVID or not, there's going to be get-togethers, and there's going to be, hopefully a lot of food on the table and just, enjoying it. And you just enjoy it. Don't be stressing out. We're going to talk more about stress, but don't be worried about what you're eating or not eating. But today I just want to kind of make it simpler because there's so many diets, right? From keto to paleo to, just low carb, high fat, low carb, high protein, low fat. You could go on and on with the macros, right? Vegan, meat eaters. Then you have things like Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, and some people, the shake diet, and some is a cookie diet, and some is like, so I think today, like a cupcake diet. Like, sign me up for that one. And it's terrible. I get clients, we get patients and they tell me all these different things, and it's tough for me to hear because there's just people that want to do the right thing and they're just being, on this roller coaster of information. And if you know me, if you've worked with me, if you've taken my course, my number one thing, the number one reason you get healthy, how you get healthy is by managing and controlling stress, which is going to have a very dramatic impact, positive impact on reducing, you guessed it, inflammation. All right. So if you want to take the complication out of it, if we just look at anti-inflammatory food or avoid foods that are high in inflammation, you're going to be in a very good place. From there, we can get a little more specific and drill down on what your particular goals are, what your particular challenges are, and how to overcome them. But when you can just start with reducing inflammation, your body, what happens is when you are overweight, being overweight itself doesn't make you unhealthy. What it does is there's so much inflammation in your body that the inflammation now is the root cause. And in so many studies, medical papers, inflammation is the root cause of so many diseases. So we're talking about heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke, arthritis, asthma, eczema, autoimmune diseases, inflammatory, of course, conditions, things like Crohn's disease and colitis, Alzheimer's disease, dementia, Parkinson's, the list does go on, but you don't really need to go much further. Those are all major diseases that can be significantly reduced, and in some cases reversed. Type 2 diabetes reversed, cholesterol reversed, high blood pressure reversed, certain forms of arthritis completely reversed. 80% of it being the diet, and another 20% of it being the exercise, and 100% of it's completely all wrapped in another 100% of managing and controlling stress, right? So physically it's the diet and the exercise, but then there's this state of being, right? I'm gonna get a little corny, but this mental fortitude and resilience that lets you understand when stress triggers, how to manage it, how to release it. We're all human. It's going to affect us. It's not like I can give you any tool that's going to completely eliminate the stress from your life. The stress is going to always be there. It's how you respond to it. So, inflammation is really not a bad thing. Inflammation is really what fights disease. And when we're cut, when there's infection, there's bacteria, when there's viruses, right? We're gonna get a lot of inflammation, and it goes to where the source is, and it's going to use a lot of white blood cells to fight the disease. So inflammation initially, when it's acute, meaning when it's there for that reason and it does its job and it leaves, it's a good thing. We all have inflammation. We all have certain levels of inflammation. You can't, there's nothing to zero it out, nor should you. Again, there's positive benefits of inflammation. So the issue, just like stress, when it's chronic and you everything is wreaking havoc, the stress you're not even digesting. When you have chronic inflammation, it starts to wreak havoc on your body, and that's why it's like literally the root cause of so many diseases. So the inflammation, the problem is now that it starts to attack healthy parts of your body, and obviously and especially with obesity. So I'm going to just read some of my notes here. Even though inflammation will do damage control, it doesn't care what it leaves behind. The result is more health problems, visits to the specialist. In fact, a recent study out of Harvard School of Medicine shows that stress can increase white blood cells and inflammation in the arteries, which can lead to a heart attack. So there's just a direct correlation. It points very clearly to the adverse effects of inflammation. So talk about some of the causes of inflammation so that you know what to avoid or manage. And number one, of course, is stress. Yes, stress is, it causes inflammation, also causes the cortisol in your body, the hormone to be produced, and that when becomes chronic also leads to belly fat and also weight gain. But it's all leading to inflammation basically. Some of the other things obviously is your diet, and we're going to have a whole list of foods to eat and to avoid. So diet, but also things like allergies. If you could be sensitive, you may be sensitive to food or environment. So if you haven't had tested for an allergy in, let's say, more than 5 years, an allergy test, do it at your doctor, go to an allergist. We do it also at Family Medicine in Boca Raton. In fact, I am the one who does the allergy tests, And it's just really good to know what you're allergic to, not because maybe you're going to do the immunotherapy to help you get past it, but if I know that I'm allergic to certain nuts, or I'm allergic to certain fruits, or I'm allergic, then I'm going to know to avoid them, because the allergy is going to create a reaction that's going to cause inflammation. All right. Periodontal disease and gum disease. When you brush your teeth, if they bleed easily, if you have swollen gums, that's inflammation that's going on. One of the biggest causes of inflammation is smoking cigarettes. Inhaling cigarettes has a multitude of other negative, effects, but it's a high cause, or a strong cause of inflammation. Chemicals and cleaning products. A lot of people, we take this for granted, but your environment like that is really, really, your body's sensitive to these things. Plastics, beauty products. We have so many poisons and toxins. I think the stat is like, by the time we leave the door in the morning, we've already been exposed to like 100 toxins, between all the stuff that we put on our face, the soaps, the shampoos. So if you really care, or if you, not that you care or not, but if you want to see that if some of these things are part of why you may not feel well, or you just, may have inflammation, is, try to do a detox environmental. We have a video on that as well. And part of our course, our habit change course, talks a lot about environmental toxins. Then there's the basic causes of inflammation, like injury and trauma and infections and cuts and things like that. But that's normal. When you have those things, you are supposed to get inflammation, because that's how your body is fighting back. So those are some of the things. Now, as far as diet, so as a health and wellness coach, obviously I focus on diet and exercise. So I'm going to get into the diet part of it. You can make a note of this. Obviously, we're going to have the video available on the Facebook page and on our YouTube page, and we also do email kind of like the notes of it. So don't worry if you're not taking notes, we'll have this for you. So, some of the foods, before I get into foods to eat, I want to talk about foods actually to avoid. So, safflower and sunflower oil, corn oil, or mixed vegetable oils. That whole industry of oils has come a long way, and they're trying to do things with less trans fats. But it's amazing to me still, when I speak to clients and patients, how many, use these kind of oils to cook. And when these oils are heated really high, their complexity changes, and it causes inflammation. It creates, really sometimes some really detrimental effects to your digestion, as well as, a lot of other things. But basically, I'll tell you right now, switch to, of course, olive oils, but in high heat, the best oil for high heat is avocado oil. It goes up to 500 degrees without breaking down. So, you could fry in it. Obviously, I recommend, using an air fryer, not deep frying foods. But switch to olive oils at low temperatures and avocado oil at higher temperatures. It may be a little bit more money, but it's your life. It's your health. Find other places where you can cut. Don't cut here. This should always be where this is all an investment. This is where you're spending the smartest money of your budget. And I know it's hard, but it's your life, because you could spend it on the doctor, you could spend it on medications. I'd rather spend it on the food that's going to be my medication. So margarines, vegetable shortening, any foods with those ingredients. Go to butter. Butter's fine. Margarine is not. That's artificial stuff. Vegetable shortening also. Fatty meats. Okay, so there's a lot of good meats, but fatty meats have more saturated fat, and that causes more inflammation. So more on the red meat side of things, and definitely literally the fat. So a lean piece of pork chop, there's a lot of, it's like they call it, the other white meat, like chicken white meat. Well, pork has some good white meat. I am not a fan of cutting out meats unless you have a real sensitivity to it, because again, that could cause even more inflammation. But generally speaking, red meats have the more fattier stuff. So you could switch to obviously chicken, turkey, and seafood. And we'll talk more about foods to eat. High fructose corn syrup and sugar. Some cans of soda don't say sugar and say high fructose corn syrup, but then there's grams of sugar, and they go to 50, 60, 70 grams. It's like twice the amount of sugar you should have in a day. Sugar is a toxin to the body. Our bodies were never meant to have added sugar And it creates a tremendous amount of inflammatory response. So, again, I know we're all hooked on sugar, but another tremendously powerful reason to start finding ways to cut sugar out of your diet. Foods made with wheat or white flour and sugar. Making pancakes, switch to almond flour. There's really good alternatives out there. They're not gonna taste the same at first. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, Stevia as a sugar substitute is not a bad thing. There's a new one out there. I can't think of the name right now. I think it starts with S also. But I've heard a lot of good reports of it. But just not you don't want to do the artificial sugar either, like the sweet and lows and things like that. That has more chemicals. At that point, I think you're best better off with sugar. But things like stevia and plant extracts, some honey, anything but real added sugar. Any packaged foods, chips and pretzels have come a long way also, but they're still, in very small moderation, okay. But for the most part, they're not cooked in great oils. But I've seen some kale chips and spinach chips and all that kind of stuff. But for that, I know you like the chips, but let's just put the kale on a salad, or put the frozen kale into a smoothie. Eat the real thing. And then caffeine is actually anti-inflammatory at small amounts, and so can alcohol. Alcohol can be as well, but it can quickly just get to that one extra cup and it turns into inflammatory. So that is in very small moderation, something that you can have. I love coffee. I drink my beers. You can have these things, and you're doing so many other things like we teach on the 80/20 the right way, that they're not going to derail you to the point where you're going to have chronic inflammation. And so let's talk a little bit about the foods to eat. So obviously any and all vegetables. You could never eat enough vegetables. Definitely the darker leafy greens are going to be even better for you. But raw or cooked, add mushrooms to your diet as much as possible. And you're going to be in great shape. Fruits, especially berries. So all fruits are also good, but some of them can be a little higher in glucose. And bananas are great, but they do tend to be higher. It depends where you are on your blood sugar battle. And you can email me, John at UpLevel Living, if you want something more customized. But generally, fruits that are berries or strawberries, blackberries. I always eat blueberries, raspberries. That's always part of my smoothies. Beans are like a superfood, man. I know some people don't digest them as well, or can get a little noisy or smelly after they eat them. Your body takes, sometimes just a little time to assimilate. So I would say, just don't give up on them if they've had a problem with them in the past. Just, eat small amounts and try to increase it, because beans are a superfood. They should be part of your diet. And now we'll talk about healthy fats. So extra virgin olive oil, which you said, nuts and seeds, avocados. I try to have at least one a day. Sometimes I have a little bit more than one. They're high in calories, but don't worry about it. If you're doing all these other things right, it's not going to, be a calorie gain that's going to make you fat. Not at all. Fat does not make you fat. Sugar makes you fat. Carbs, like this, breads and white flours and white rice, carbs are no nutrients, that's what makes you fat. And that also is what creates a lot of inflammation. Eggs are awesome for you. Skinless poultry, lean meats, like I said, salmon, chicken, turkey also. And this one everybody likes. Well, most people like when I say this, not everybody. Red wine and dark chocolate. Wow, what a combination. So there you go, guys. I gave you the green light to get drunk and eat some chocolates tonight. No, I'm just kidding. But red wine has a lot of compounds that are going to be anti-inflammatory, and really, that one glass for women or up to 2 glasses for men. Sorry, but that's just kind of how the science works. Is really healthy and beneficial. And same thing with dark chocolate. It has to be dark chocolate, not milk chocolate. And the more, usually the darker, the better. And that's your list of foods, guys. I'm just telling you, you don't have to make it too complicated. If you can kind of do 80/20, so 80% of the time you're on those foods to eat list, and 20% of the time you're on the other side, except, sugar as low as possible, high fructose corn syrup, get that out of your diet completely. Get the safflower and sunflower oil and corn oil, mixed vegetable oils out of your diet completely. There's some really great substitutes. There's no reason to hold on to that stuff. But you can have a fatty meat every now and then. You can have some chips every now and then. Caffeine and alcohol. We talk red wine being a little bit different than alcohol. All right. So then, the last thing is obviously what? It is exercise. Exercise stresses the body a tiny bit. But when you're done, there's a lot more benefits of reducing inflammation, of reducing stress by exercising. Also, when you build muscle, it absorbs sugar and it absorbs toxins even, so like it gets it out of your system to a certain degree. It actually uses it. So it's always good if you could put on some muscle. And obviously for your heart and cardiovascular, your heart is a muscle as well. You need to exercise it. When you're doing that kind of diet and you're exercising, at least 3 times a week, you really got to push yourself to get 20 to 30 minutes at least 3 times a week. And I mean, break a sweat, okay? Exercise, going for a walk is great. I'm not minimizing that at all. But I want you to break a sweat, because here's what happens when you break a sweat, right? You are releasing toxins. Your body's actually detoxifying. And guess what? Inflammation is going with it. So, a little recap. We have acute stress, right? Which is just that stress that happens when there's a situation and leaves. And then we have inflammation. And then we have acute inflammation. And then we have chronic inflammation that just sticks around. There is a test. You could go to the doctor and they'll give you a test. It's basically a protein that they're testing for. So the blood test measures a protein produced by the liver, and it's called C-reactive protein, or CRP, which rises in response to inflammation. A CRP level between 1 and 3 milligrams per liter of blood often signals a low yet chronic level of inflammation. So you can get tested to see exactly where your inflammation is and find out, again, scientifically based, is it something that I really need to address? And then how we go about doing it between this diet and this exercise. I don't think I have much more else for you. Avoiding obviously sodas, fruit juices, sports drinks as well. White breads, pastas, white rice, things that are refined and enriched, no good. The reason they enrich them is because they've stripped them of all of their nutritional value. And we're gonna be fine. I want to wrap up this year positive. I want to give you guys hope that 2021 is going to be different. We have the vaccine being rolled out right now. Again, today is December 15th if you're watching live. And just have hope and have faith and keep believing. And whatever faith you do have, hold on to it and pray for your loved ones. And I can't say I've done the correct social distancing thing all the time this holiday season, but I am avoiding, when that happens, giving some time before I'm back with either my parents or anything else like that. So just, be careful. I do believe in, wearing masks. We do obviously wear masks every day at work. I do believe in social distancing. And if you have a chance to take the vaccination, especially if you're immune compromised, if you're obese, if you have any other underlying issues, take it as soon as you can. And we're going to get through this. And 2021, we're going to see some positive changes. And I'm going to be here for you guys. And I want you to hear from me as well. I know I'm not getting, 500 people on these calls. It's okay. I do this for the purpose of relaying the information that has changed my life and changed my body and mind, and I want it to be the same for you. So I think like it, comment, share it, watch it again, post it, and do whatever you can to definitely support. And I definitely appreciate that. So guys, if I don't speak to you before the new year, have a really Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. We're in the middle of Hanukkah. Again, whatever your faith is, hold on to it. God bless, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.